Hello, and welcome back to Miss Bell's classroom. Today in class, we're going to be talking about nutrition. And we'll be talking about kind of the 6 types of nutrients. So it's going to be a basic overview of nutrition. I'm excited for this one. This is one of my favorite topics. So I'm thinking of doing kind of a series on nutrition and just talking about different topics of nutrition. But today what we'll be doing is we'll be talking about nutrition and nutrients. So there are 6 types of nutrients. So we have carbohydrates. I'm just going to write carbs. We also have fats. We have protein. We have iron. We also have vitamins. Water and minerals. So we'll be talking about each one of these today, and then in the future I might make a video just about carbs, fats, protein, vitamins, water, and minerals, and go even further into those topics. So I hope that you enjoy this lesson. So, we need food, obviously. Our food affects almost everything that we do. It affects how we look, how we feel, and act. It even affects our abilities, so how you function every day. So, food has an impact on your life because it supplies nutrients, which are the substance in foods that the body needs to function and properly grow and repair itself, and having a supply of energy. So nutrition is a science and a social science. So as a science, it looks at how the body uses nutrients. As a social science, it looks at the relationship between food and human behavior and the environment, or how and why people eat. So it's a combo of both things. So nutrients that provide energy are the carbs, fats, and proteins. They provide the energy to perform other important functions. So we need energy for all of our activities. When our body uses carbs, fats, and proteins, energy is released, which are calories. So a food calorie is actually a kilocalorie, which is equal to 1,000 calories. So calorie is useful in comparing the energy available from different foods. So when you're deciding what to eat, for example, an apple might only contain 80 calories, while a slice of pie might contain almost 350 calories. So you'll get more energy from the pie than you would from the apple. So another thing that we're going to talk about carbohydrates now. And so there are 2 types of carbohydrates. So we have simple carbohydrates and we have complex carbohydrates. Okay. So athletes are not the only people who need carbs. Everyone needs carbs to survive. So carbs are the sugars and starches found in food. They are made up of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. And there are 2 types, simple and complex. So simple carbohydrates are the different forms of sugar, which are easy for the body to process. So they're simple, they're easy to process. So these sugars are fructose and glucose, which are mostly found in fruits and vegetables, and also lactose, which is found in milk and sucrose, which is refined and purified to produce table sugar. So the most important to the body is glucose, the form of sugar that goes directly to the bloodstream and provides a quick energy. All the other sugars must be changed into glucose by the body before the cells can use them. The cells use glucose as their primary source of energy. Glucose that is not needed immediately is converted by the body to glycogen, a form of starch stored in the muscles and liver, or it is converted to and stored as body fat. So if you get too much glucose, it's going to be converted into glycogen, and that's a form of starch, and it's going to be stored in your muscles and liver, or it will be converted and stored as fat. So we talked about simple, so I'm just going to kind of go over that. So simple carbohydrates include fructose, which is found in fruits and vegetables, as well as glucose. That's also found in fruits and vegetables. Then we have lactose. It's kind of like lactose intolerant. This is found in milk, our milk products, and sucrose. And sucrose is found in refined and purified things. So this is like the table sugar. Okay, so we talked about simple. Now we're going to talk about complex. So simple, remember that simple is easy to digest. Complex is the opposite. So starches, when you think of starches, that is complex carbs. So starches. Get A there. Starches. Okay. So starches are complex carbs that are made up of many units of glucose or other sugars. So these chains must be broken down by the body into single units of glucose before they can be used. So starches take longer than sugars to be broken down into glucose. Starches provide energy to the body over longer periods than do simple sugars. So breads, cereals, pasta, potatoes contain starch. So we know that complex are starches. They just take longer for the body to break down compared to simple. And then the other type of complex would be something called dietary fiber. So dietary fiber is another complex carbohydrate which comes from non-digestible parts of plants. So there's two types of this. There is soluble and insoluble. Okay. So soluble fiber combines with waste and other substances to assist in the removal from the body. So it might be oat bran, apples, beans, carrots, and other vegetables. Insoluble fiber helps absorb water and helps to provide needed bulk to the diet. So it might be found in whole grains, like the skins of an apple or seeds of fruits and vegetables. So soluble is going to help get rid of the waste, and insoluble is going to help kind of provide needed bulk to the diet, if that makes sense. So we talked about carbohydrates, we talked about complex and simple. Now we're going to talk about fats, or another word is lipids. Okay, so fats are the nutrients that contain the most concentrated form of energy. So they're a type of lipid, And lipids are substances that are somewhat similar to carbs, but they contain less oxygen and they do not dissolve in water. So fat is one of the essential nutrients important for proper body function. So a small daily intake of fat is required. 1 gram of fat provides more than twice as much energy as 1 gram of carbs. So fats contain 9 calories per gram, whereas carbs contain 4 and proteins also contain 4. So it's more concentrated. So, fats are a part of many body tissues and are important as carriers of other nutrients, such as vitamins, other fats. It also helps carry the flavor of foods, making foods tastier, but consumption of fat should be monitored. So, there are different types of fats. There's saturated and unsaturated. There's also monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats. So, first one we're going to talk about today is saturated. So saturated fats are usually solid at room temperature. They contain maximum number of hydrogen atoms. So like tropical oils, butter, and animal fats tend to be high in saturated fats. A diet high in saturated fats can lead to an increased chance of a heart and blood vessel disease, obesity, and some types of cancer. The other type of fat that we're going to talk about today is unsaturated. So unsaturated fats are those fats that are liquid at room temperature. So olive oil and peanut oil are called monounsaturated fats. So monounsaturated just means that they lack one pair of the hydrogen atoms. The other type that we're going to talk about today is polyunsaturated. So polyunsaturated fats include things like fish oils, vegetable oils such as corn, soybean, and sunflower. And the reason they're called polyunsaturated is because they lack 2 or more pairs of the hydrogen atoms. So mono would mean they lack 1, poly would mean more, 2 or more. So the next thing we're going to talk about today is cholesterol. So eating foods high in fats, especially saturated fats, may increase levels of cholesterol, which is a waxy fat-like substance produced by the body. So the one type of fat that you want to limit is saturated. So cholesterol is a part of cell membranes and new tissues. It is used by the body to form vitamin D and other hormones. It is found only in foods that come from animals. So can only get cholesterol from foods from animals, such as butter, eggs, and meats. It is not an essential nutrient because your body produces cholesterol in the liver. As cholesterol levels in the body increase, the risk of heart and artery disease increases as well. Cholesterol tends to be deposited in the walls of the arteries, thereby reducing the flow of blood to the cells supplied by those arteries. So there are 2 types of cholesterol. And one of them is known to help the body, and the other one is known to cause damage. So cholesterol. So the 2 types are LDL and HDL. So LDL is known as the bad form that tends to deposit the cholesterol on the walls of the blood vessels. HDL is the good form that removes cholesterol from the cells and brings it back to the liver, and then it's able to be recycled. Exercise has been shown to raise the HDL and lower the LDL. Okay, so we talked about cholesterol, we talked about fats, we talked about carbs. Now we're going to talk about protein. So proteins are substances found in every cell. The body needs proteins to build and repair all body tissues. So protein is an important part of blood cells. Proteins are made up of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen atoms that are formed into basic units called amino acids. So there are 20 different amino acids. 9 of them are essential, and the other 11 amino acids can be produced by the body. So there are types of complete proteins and incomplete proteins. So complete proteins would be like chicken, milk, cheese, a steak, eggs. Incomplete would be more of the beans, like legumes, like your lentils, your peanuts, green beans. Those are incomplete. So next we're going to talk about vitamins, minerals, and water. So vitamins, minerals, and water are nutrients that work with the energy providing nutrients to be sure the body is functioning properly. Water is the most vital nutrient because it provides the means for all other nutrients to be carried throughout the body. Eating a variety of foods in the right amounts is usually all that is needed to get a daily supply of vitamin and minerals. So vitamins, minerals, and water are not digested by our body, and they do not provide calories. Instead, vitamins, minerals, and water are released from foods we eat and are absorbed by the body's tissues. They work with carbs, fats, and proteins to promote growth and regulate body processes. So the first one we're going to talk about today is vitamins and why they are important for your body. So some diseases can develop because of a lack of a particular vitamin, and vitamins are compounds found in living things and are needed in small amounts for life and growth to prevent certain diseases. So vitamins might help build bones and tissues. They can also help change carbs and fats into energy. Because the body cannot make most vitamins, they must be supplied by the foods that we eat. So there are fat-soluble vitamins and there are water-soluble vitamins. So fat-soluble vitamins, which is what we're going to talk about now, vitamins dissolve fat and can be stored in the body. So vitamin A is a fat-soluble vitamin, so it can be stored. It won't get flushed out of your body. So sources of vitamin A might be orange, yellow, green, vegetables, liver, egg yolk. And vitamin A is going to help maintain healthy skin, eyes, bones, help with your teeth. And you can have too much vitamin A. If you do, some symptoms of that might be vomiting, dry skin, hair loss, rashes, headache, fatigue. But you can also be deficient. So being deficient, some signs might be you have night blindness, eye infections, rough skin, respiratory infections. So vitamin A can be stored. Vitamin D is also a fat-soluble vitamin, which means it can be stored in the body. So you can get vitamin D from the sun, you can get it from milk, eggs, liver. And what vitamin D does is it promotes absorption of phosphorus and calcium to build and maintain bones. Some symptoms that you have too much vitamin D would be loss of appetite, headache, nausea, weakness. Your bones and soft tissue might become weak as well. And then signs of deficiency of vitamin D, rickets, which is poor bone development, and malformation of your teeth as well. Another fat-soluble vitamin that we're going to talk about today is vitamin E. And you can get vitamin E from whole grains, vegetable oils, nuts, dark green leafy vegetables, beans. And vitamin E helps protect red blood cells and stabilizes cell membranes. And if you have too much, you're just going to have some digestive discomfort. If you're not getting enough vitamin E, you could have rupture of blood cells, anemia, nerve abnormalities. And then the last one that's a fat soluble is vitamin K. So vitamin K can be found in green leafy vegetables, liver, kale, cabbage. It's also made in the body by your intestinal bacteria, and it assists in normal clotting of blood. If you've got too much, anemia can happen. And if you don't have enough, you can have slow clotting of blood. Hemorrhages, especially in newborns, can happen. So those are some of the fat-soluble vitamins. So you don't want to overdo those because it is stored in the body. It doesn't pass through your body like water-soluble. So if you eat too much vitamin C, it's going to pass through your body. But if you eat any of those vitamins and you have too much, your body stores them, so you can have toxic symptoms. Okay, so the next type of vitamin that we're going to talk about is water-soluble vitamins. So water-soluble vitamins dissolve in water. Because water-soluble vitamins are not stored by the body, because water-soluble vitamins are not stored by the body to any extent, foods rich these vitamins must be eaten more often than other foods, like the fat-soluble vitamins. So fruits and vegetables are a good source of water-soluble vitamins. So the water-soluble vitamins are B1, B2, niacin, vitamin B6, folic acid, vitamin B12, vitamin C, biotin, pantothenic acid. So the next thing that we're going to talk about, we talked about vitamins, we're going to talk about minerals, and then we'll talk about water last. So minerals, so there are major minerals and trace minerals, which we'll talk about. But minerals are simple substances found in the environment that are essential to the body's functioning. So minerals are used to regulate a wide range of body processes, from bone formation to blood clotting, and they are important for the body structure as well. So most minerals are either quickly used or lost in waste products. Therefore, we must eat mineral-rich foods every day to replenish our supply. Iron is an exception, though. It tends to be kept and recycled by the body, except when there is blood loss. So we're going to talk about the two types. There are major minerals. It's one type. And then there are trace minerals. So major minerals include the minerals like calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, potassium, sulfur, sodium, and chlorine. So calcium, we've all heard of that. It keeps the nervous system working well and is needed for blood clotting. Osteoporosis is a disease caused by a calcium deficiency. Sodium and potassium help regulate the passage of fluids in and out of cells. Too much sodium in the diet may aggravate high blood pressure or hypertension. increasing the risk of a heart attack, stroke, or kidney disease. Table salt is one source of sodium in the diet. Most sodium comes in food, though. There's a lot of hidden sodium in a lot of the foods that you eat. Deficiency of potassium can lead to muscle weakness and an abnormal heartbeat. So those are the major ones. The trace minerals are iron, iodine, zinc, copper, and fluorine. So the majority of minerals needed for body function are required in very small or trace amounts. So iron is a vital part of hemoglobin, a substance in the red blood cells that can carry the oxygen to all parts of the body. So if you don't have enough iron, that can cause anemia, which means that your body has either too few red blood cells or too little hemoglobin. As a result, too little oxygen is carried to cells of the body. Iodine is needed for the thyroid gland to function properly. So the thyroid produces hormones that control how quickly chemical reactions occur in our body. And too little iodine, the thyroid gland enlarges, and where you can get iodine are seafood and iodized table salt, which I'm sure you've all seen. And the last topic that we're going to talk about today is water, which we all are aware of. So water is found in every cell in the spaces around the cells, in the fluid tissues of the body and body cavities. So water carries dissolved nutrients throughout our body and assists in all functions such as digesting foods, removing waste, regulating temperature, and cushioning sensitive parts of our body. So each day we lose about 2 to 3 quarts of water. And if this water is not replaced, your body can dehydrate. And when minerals are dissolved, they break apart into ions. The ions formed in body fluids are called electrolytes. These ions play a central role in the water balance in the body. So that is all that I have for you today. I hope that you enjoyed this lesson. It's one of my favorite things to learn about. So I will definitely be, producing more nutrition videos. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful night. Goodbye.